Okay, so we are live now. So I'll just do a quick introduction. So, hello everybody. Thank you so much for joining in. And today we are going to talk about which is little important because we live in a very stimulated world. We have noise around us all the time, notification on the phone, laptop, and people talking around us. And we are most of the time we are not with us even if we are trying. So, today we are going to talk about something which is really, really important for every one of us. Today we are going to pause and then we are going to do a little bit of breathing. So, in general, today we are going to talk about mindfulness. And for that, today we have Tamanna Bora, and she is a clinical psychologist. And we are really, really grateful to have you, ma'am, here. Thank you so much for doing this webinar. And I really cannot wait to hear you. So I will not take a lot of time and over to you. And to people who have any question or want to ask anything, or if you want to give your opinion, you can always do in the YouTube comments. And by the end of the webinar, I'll be taking up that question or the suggestion to ma'am. So over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, and thank you for inviting me for this webinar. So first of all, I have to thank you and AHA Therapy for giving me this opportunity and the platform to, have a discussion with the audience and with you about a very small topic. Even though it's a very small topic, it's not something very complex, and as you said, it's something that we we have to have this conversation in a way that people can just take a pause and just stop for a minute, take a deep breath, and just relax themselves for the moment. So as you have already said that this is a bit about mindfulness. Along with this is also about self-awareness. So when we talk about self-awareness, we can also say that it's a very basic foundation of our well-being as well, of our mental health, of our understanding about ourselves and our surrounding. So, when we talk about self awareness, we talk about how we spend our lives trying to, usually, we spend our time thinking about what others are thinking, what others are going through, how to help others. But then, self awareness is one of the very basic skill that helps us to understand our own self. It helps us to understand how we are behaving, how our emotions are, how our thoughts are, how we react. So all of these things. So this awareness helps us to take a pause. It helps us to label what we are feeling. It also helps us to understand how to react in a particular situation, or how to react in any day-to-day situation. So, when we speak in the definition of what is self awareness is basically understanding, or it is the ability to notice and understand what's going inside us, like our thoughts, our emotions, our body reaction, as well as our behavior. So these are all the things that that come as the component of self-awareness. But the most important thing is that in self-awareness, we are not criticizing ourselves, we are not judging ourselves, we are just noticing what is happening. Like I have said over here, noticing what we feel, recognizing how we react, and understanding what we think. This is just to understand what are our likes and dislikes, what are our boundaries, what are the things that we, what are our needs and wants. So it's just that it's not like we are going to criticize ourselves, overanalyze ourselves, or even judge ourselves. So, the reason this is very important is because it prevents a lot of emotional overload. Because sometimes what happens is we criticize ourselves a lot. We think that some of our behaviors are, um, some of our emotions are too much, or we might think that um, you know our emotions are invalid. So that self awareness helps us to understand that our emotions are very valid. We have different kind of emotions in different situations. So this helps us not to feel overloaded with um, emotions that we feel are invalid. So we understand that emotions are valid. There are different types of emotions, and emotions which we can regulate. So self awareness also helps us to regulate our emotions. So it helps us to regulate because while we are in a situation, or while we are understanding ourselves, we take a pause. We think about what exactly is happening with us. What you know is this situation, during this situation, what exactly is happening with us. So it helps us to pause before we react in the most negative way, or we react in a way that might hurt us or someone else. So that pause is important for us. And this also helps us in our own well-being, because like I said, self-awareness helps us to understand our boundaries, our likes and dislikes. All right, so self-awareness, we can just say in a very lighter tone, we can say that um, it's understanding our inner light, our inner functionings, and it also helps us what is happening before things become too overwhelming for us. So it's basically having a awareness, having a respect for our emotions and feelings, and how we respond. So there are a few common challenges that we might feel with self-awareness. As I said that, um, sometimes self-awareness can be taken in a heavier note, where someone might um, criticize themselves too much, or overanalyze themselves, or not not understanding their own boundaries. So what they do is that they let other people disrespect their boundaries, or we can say, quote unquote, being a pushover, not being able to say no, not being able to say yes to something. So things like that. So here are some common challenges that can be there. One is difficulty in identifying emotions. Then, as I said before, being too self critical, ignoring early signs of stress, reacting emotionally without pausing, and overthinking instead of understanding. So, these are some of the common challenges an individual might have, and it's okay. It's completely okay to um, go through these challenges as challenges, not in a sense that this also gives a perspective ki, okay, I have some challenges with me. I know this will give me a perspective on how I can work on my challenges, and how I can make myself feel, make myself understand myself much better. So challenges um, can be seen in this perspective as well. So the thing is, sometimes we are also unaware of our inner struggles. So now what happens is that with this we also react very negatively. So so understanding self awareness can help us. So there are some benefits. As we were already talking about some common challenges, we already have been talking about what is self-awareness. We also get to understand that through self-awareness, there are a lot of impact on our um, personal growth, on our mental health, and on our well-being. So as I've already said that, um, self awareness is basically understanding our thoughts, our emotion, and our actions. So, basically, let's say we have a thought. For example, I am feeling angry, or I'm going to fail at something. So, that is our thought. So, what happens if, let's say, uh, is basically, if I'm feeling angry, I take a pause and I think, why am I feeling angry? Okay, I'm feeling angry because something didn't work out in my schedule. Something didn't happen how I wanted something to happen, or someone said something to me which triggered me. So that is the emotion that I'm having. And how am I going to react on it? Maybe I'll tell the person that, okay, this was not nice of you to say this, or maybe I'll just work around my schedule if something didn't work out. So we take a pause and we think how we are going to react on it, how our actions are going to be. So, like I said, there's in one of the example I've written, I must not fail. That is a thought that I have. I must not fail my exam. I must not fail at a project that I'm doing. So this emotion is causing an anxiety to be perfect. So now what happens is that because of that anxiety to be perfect, we are overworking ourselves, we are stressing ourselves more, we are constantly thinking that if we don't do it perfectly, then others will, look down on us. So our behavior becomes unhealthy. We start with our unhealthy practices. So so self-awareness helps to understand the pattern that we have, our thought pattern, our emotional pattern, and our action patterns of our action. Along with this, it also helps us with regulating our emotion and reducing our stress. Because, as I said, once we notice what we are going through, once we take a pause, we see what is the early sign, then we name what emotion we are having, and then we prevent the overload of it. In the previous example, when I said, um, I must not fail, due to which I'm feeling anxious, due to which I'm overworking myself. So now, once we know that, okay, this is happening because I'm feeling anxious because of something, then we can understand ki, okay, it's okay to fail. It's okay if something is not working out, because it's not the end of the world. It's not like the world is going to collapse. It's okay to, make some imperfection or make some mistakes, because that's how we learn, that's how others learn, that's how everyone learns. So the awareness is basically giving us the key of understanding that even smallest of the smallest mistakes are okay to be done, and we are regulating that. We are thinking ki, okay, I failed at something, it's okay. It's not like it's going to tag me as a failure. It's just I made a mistake. But once we think that, okay, I failed at something, I'm going to be failure throughout my life, that's how we have an overload of our negative emotion. Once we regulate our emotions, that's when you know, we have a growth in our well-being. We have a positive impact on our own self. Yeah, so adding on to that, there's adding on to understanding our own growth, this also helps us understanding our confidence and getting a clarity on boundaries. Like I said before, that self awareness also makes us understand our personal boundaries. It also helps us understand our boundaries in a relationship. What are our likes and dislikes? What are our needs and wants? What kind of limitations we have? And with these, we can also make particular decisions in our lives. This can be with career, with academics. This can be like any decision that we are making. It helps us to give proper clarity to ourselves, because we know that, okay, this is my capacity, this is my ability, this is how much I can do. And if I push myself, how much I can push myself. Am I pushing myself in a negative way or a positive way? So self awareness helps us to uh, process all of these things. And like I said before, that it also helps in our relationships. So this is quite explanatory. It also helps us to gain awareness of our needs and wants, like I said before. And it also helps us to communicate better. So once we know that what are our needs and wants, what we like, what we dislike, how we respond rather than reacting. We can tell other people that, okay, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, this is triggering for me, this is okay for me, this is not okay for me. And that way, we also encourage others to communicate with us. In that way, we also get to know what the other person doesn't like, what the other person likes, or what are their needs and expectations, or their wants. So awareness also plays a very key role in our communication. And it also creates, like I said, that this can be also seen as our inner light. This can also be seen as our calmness, how we calm ourselves, and our emotional balance. Because we okay, so now we have a lot of emotions. How do we balance them? How do we say that which emotion should be at what time, when we don't know, and it's completely okay. But at least we know that these emotions exist. These emotions exist, or they coexist with each other. So now what happens is that we get the understanding that, okay, the emotions that we have should not should work along with each other, should coexist with each other. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be angry. If some situation has happened where you have to be angry, it's okay to be angry, but it should not be a kind of anger which is harming you or harming others. So that is something that is very important, that the emotions that you have should not be in a way that's harming you or others. So they shouldn't fight. Your emotions, your thoughts shouldn't fight with each other. You shouldn't be having inner conflict. Rather than, you learn how to live or coexist with these thoughts and emotions. So that's how a balance is created. With this, we also get to understand what are, like I said, we get to understand our likes and dislikes. We also get to understand that we also have certain unhealthy coping mechanisms. We have certain unhealthy defense mechanism, or certain unhealthy patterns. So this helps us to break that pattern. If we have been doing something that has been harming us or others, having a certain awareness can help us communicate, help us grow in a way that we are breaking unhealthy patterns. So the change that we are talking is in a positive way, rather than um, we are changing certain things while we are noticing something about ourselves. Not like we are forcing a certain change on ourselves. If you think that there's a pattern which has been very unhealthy, and you know that it's very unhealthy for you, then you do it in an alternative. You find an alternative, that, okay, this pattern is there, what are the other alternatives that patterns are there which I can replace it with. So it's basically replacing something negative, finding an alternative, and replacing it with something positive. So it's like, um you know replace, it's not exactly breaking something, but it's like trying to understand that with something negative, a positive thing can also be put up on. So, because I mean, as a human being, even I have unhealthy patterns. I have unhealthy patterns which I know that it's going to harm me, it's going to harm others. So what I do, I sit down, I think that, okay, is this unhealthy pattern something beneficial for me? Is this something, is it something that will help me in future? if if I figure it out that, okay, this is not going to help me in future, it's going to be more problematic in future, that's when I take a decision that, okay, I need to change this. I need to change it with something positive, or something which is not harmful. All right. So there are some techniques that can be used with awareness, with mindfulness, is the 5 4 3 2 1 method. We take a pause, we count from 5 to 1, and then we return to our present moment. We just take a moment for ourselves to, gather our thoughts, to gather our emotions in that situation. We take a pause for 5 seconds, we count backwards from 5 to 1, and then we respond to that situation or to that feeling. Then there is the body scan to notice any tension in your body that you're feeling, and to notice that if any part of your body is feeling more tension, how do you relax yourself? So through breathing exercises, we can, regulate our body. We can regulate our breathing, and we can also regulate our calmness. So these are some exercises that we can do. There are a lot of other exercises. There's box breathing as well. Then there is four in, six out. That's also breathing exercise. So you can practice these breathing exercise. You can integrate these exercises in your day to day life. Maybe for like a good minute or something. Let's say if for example, if you go to gym or if you are working out, maybe you can use these exercises for a warm up. Or let's say if you are someone um, who feels anxious, maybe you can try these, maybe in the morning, afternoon, or whenever you feel like doing, so that this helps you. And it's not like you have to do it every day. You can do it whenever you feel comfortable to do it, or whenever you feel like, okay, I want to do something like this to make myself feel calm, you can do it. And then there's also practicing, through journaling also we can practice self-awareness. For instance, we can have a mood tracker, a thought tracker. We can have different topics about our journals. So emotionally we checking in on ourselves, and then checking on our thoughts, whether it's assumption or whether it's fear. And then we are noticing our triggers, and we are doing all these things without judgment. So all of these things can be added on to your journaling as well. Or let's say if you're not into journaling, if you're into making voice notes, you can add these in your voice notes as well. So, like I was suggesting, if you want to do voice notes, you can also do voice notes on these. Like, for example, replacing self criticism with compassion, and speaking to yourself like a friend. So, speaking to yourself like a friend is very helpful, because how would you advise your friends if they are going through something very similar, or if they are going through a tough time? So, talking to yourself like a friend can also be beneficial. And this can also and you can also have a inner dialogue with yourself, a monologue. So having a healthy self talk can, can inculcate self awareness. And these techniques can also be taught at an early stage, for children. Let's say if parents, teachers, or um, if caregivers, if they're teaching children to understand self-awareness, they can teach their children to how to name emotions. They can normalizing in all the feelings that a child is having, and also encouraging the child to express themselves through art and craft, through talking or through play. And this can also help the child to communicate more better. So more better, and this can also encourage children to have children to learn empathy. So children can learn at an early stage. And even for adults, even for grown-ups, or let's say someone who is a teenager, if even if they are learning self-awareness, they can do a lot of different things. We already talk about breathing exercises. Then there's journaling, and in journaling we can also practice on what kind of emotions we have, what kind of thoughts we have, naming it, and then pausing before we respond or react, and then understanding that what are the other alternatives that we can have, other alternative response we can have, which can be um, mindful, which can be healthy. So these are some of the techniques, and how all of this impacts us is that it helps us to understand that it helps us to understand that we are not overthinking about us, overthinking what we are doing. This reduces that. This reduces our overthinking, our criticism, and this also helps us to manage, um, our boundaries, our relationships, and our anger, and to recognize what kind of stressful signs we have, the early signs, unhealthy lifestyle that we have. At least we can um, see that, okay, what is actually happening with us, the good, the bad, the worst, the best, all of it. We can see all of it in an accumulated way. So, with this, I also wanted to add on that having a support system is very important. Friends, family, in school, in your workplace, having a safe space is very important. If you're going through something, and if you are facing difficulty in something, please speak out, please speak to your friends, your family, and if you like, you can also speak to a professional. So having a support system is very important. So I genuinely encourage people to have support system everywhere. And yeah, so this is what I wanted to talk about. I know that um, this is something very small, something very basic, but yet again, it also is something that we have to, have need to have conversations about. So yeah, so thank you so much for everyone's time. Thank you so much for joining and listening to us, and to going through our presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this. It was a wonderful, and I really liked how you explained and then also how it affects our behavior. So thank you for this webinar. And yes, you are very right. Self-awareness does not only calm ourselves down, but also like the way you taught, you told us how it creates empathy and sympathy in children and students. That was really, really nice. And as today is Sunday, so people who have joined in, this is the great time to spend some time, this is the great day to spend some time with you, get to know yourself, sit with your feelings. Maybe it's not a wonderful feeling, but like ma'am said, it's all right to feel that because it will give you direction to think about, it will give you a way to go ahead. So thank you so much, ma'am, for today's session. And we're really grateful. And to people who have joined in, thank you for joining in. Thank you for taking out time and for being with us for this time. And we do this kind of webinar every Sunday. So we'll be back by next Sunday with another webinar. Until then, and ma'am, again, we are really grateful and thank you for being part of our AHA community. We are grateful to have you in the community. And yes, are you able to hear me, ma'am?
Thank you so much. Am I audible?
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, no problem. So, yeah, we have come to end of our today's webinar. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. Thank you, ma'am. We'll see you next Sunday.
Yes, thank you. Bye bye, and take care, everyone.
Thank you. Have a great day ahead. Bye.